You've been seeking answers from every dermatologist, doctor, and all over the internet, wondering what on earth this unbearable skin issue is. You know something's up, and you've been suffering and silenced for far too long. This podcast is going to bring awareness to the brutal reality that is topical steroid addiction and withdrawal syndrome. It will give you practical mental and physical tips to help you along your journey and provide you the strength you need to push through each day. You'll hear from real people battling this illness, as well as experts in the field, and I'm also going to share with you what's happening as I battle and conquer TSW. You are not alone, you're not crazy, and you will heal. If there's one thing I know, it's that anyone going through this hell is a warrior. My name is Jennifer Powers, and I welcome you to TSW Journey To Healing. Okay, I want to welcome to the show Sarah. Sarah is a student and she is pursuing professional golf, which I find so very cool. She is a woman of faith and she is just past her, I believe, 5 months TSW. She's going strong. I'm really excited for her to share her perspective, her thoughts. She's got a really powerful story and a lot of good nuggets to share with everyone. So Sarah, welcome to the show and thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you so much, Jen. I really appreciate you having me here. This is actually my first podcast I've ever been on. So I was telling other people I'm going on a podcast and like, whoa, you're famous.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
I was like, thanks. I mean, I guess so. I don't know.
That is so awesome. Well, I'm honored to be the first podcast that you're on. This is so exciting. And I can't wait for your friends to listen to your amazingness with your story and this episode when it airs. So I appreciate it. Like I know time, especially with TSW, every moment that we're feeling decent is a treasured gift. So if you are, hopefully you're feeling well right now, but I don't take that for granted. So thank you for being here. Why don't we start, a little background on you and tell the audience like who you are, where you're from, and go from there.
Yeah, so my name is Sarah Meredith. I got married to my husband last June 4th of 2022. We were both high school sweethearts and we were dating for 6 years. And so we live here in Southeast Missouri, a little town called Cape Girardeau. Not sure if anybody knows where that is. It's really, really small. And that's where we're moving back. Right now we live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, while I finish school and at Oral Roberts University. I'm a student athlete there. And now my time of being a student athlete is up. And now I'm moving back to Cape to be with our family. And so just like a little bit about like my eczema journey. It's literally been so wild. And so I battled with eczema since I was around 5 to 7 years old. I'm not 100% sure when it all started, but I believe it all came from stress, just because I kind of had a stressful childhood and, having divorced parents and all of that was just a lot. And I had it literally just like on the innards of my arm. And that was it. And I went to the dermatologist about it and they would just prescribe just steroid creams. I really, to be honest, I don't really remember what kind of steroid creams that I got. But
they're all bad, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. And I just used them just off and on. Like I was never that consistent with it. I just used it when I had a flare, and I will say I'm very thankful that I didn't use it every single day. I just, like I said, it may have been like once a week maybe that I used it. And I noticed over whenever I was like turning around like 10, 12 years old, I noticed like it just was like spreading just like all over my upper body. I never had it in my lower body, but just all over my upper body. And I'm like, what in the world is this? And and like, of course, at the time I just thought it was just eczema. Eczema was just spreading. And this is kind of where it gets a little interesting with my TSW journey, because it doesn't look like the normal TSW journey, because I actually went through TSW twice.
Oh, no.
Yes. The first one that I went through was actually the year of my wedding. So my wedding was in June, and I realized I started having these crazy symptoms. Had no idea what TSW was. And I was going through it in like December, January of 2022. And I was like, I don't know what this is. I have no idea, but it's kind of freaking me out. But then I did like some research on it and found out it was TSW. And so, because I just decided just to get off the topical steroids, just because I was like, just wanted to see what my skin does. And then, of course, you know, it just flared and went crazy.
Were you like, when you first discovered what TSW was, were you like in shock? Like, what was your reaction to it, I guess?
I was just trying to find everything I could do holistically to get rid of this. Like, I actually found have you heard of medical medium before?
Oh yeah, Anthony William. Yeah.
Yeah.
Celery juice? Did you celery juice?
Oh my gosh. I did all the things. Like, I was thinking, oh my gosh, this guy's great. Like, but something just didn't seem 100% right with me with that whole thing. I mean, to each their own. If it helps another person, totally great. Yeah. But like, I was in the red flare stage where my entire arms was just so red. And what was so weird was that my first experience with TSW is so different than the TSW I'm going through right now. The first one that I went through, like, yeah, I went through the red sleeves and they came quick. They came like as soon, like as I, you know, like a couple weeks after I went off of them. But what was weird and different about it was I didn't have a lot of flaking. It almost looked like I had scratches all over me. It was so weird. It was so odd. But during that, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I want to look clear for my wedding. And
so you were,
and
like, were you following the protocols and like you were doing all the, you know, juice cleansing and vegetable and fruit, everything?
Yeah. So I mainly just did like the celery juice. And then they also had like this detoxing your liver one. It was a heavy metal detox. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I just did those. But I still ate as healthy as I could. I mean, but I eat meat and I eat dairy and gluten and all that. So during that process, it was actually in season for golf. And I was like, this was so painful. And I still played through it. I don't know how. It was by God's grace that I played through that. And so I was like, there's something that I have to do. I don't know what to do. So I went to the dermatologist and they prescribed me Dupixent. So I was like, okay, I just want to get off of this. Just put me on anything because I just want to be clear for the wedding, you know, and just to be able to play. So I was on it, but then the one mistake that I made with this whole Dupixent was the dermatologist told me to do was to put topical steroids on the skin while I'm taking Dupixent. And I'm like, oh, I mean, at the time I didn't realize it. I was just so focused on like the wedding. I was so focused on like, I just wanted to cover everything up, just wanted to look nice for the wedding. That's all I was thinking about.
Yeah, of course.
And I regret that so much.
Well, so, did it work for you? I'm sure it did for a little.
Oh my gosh.
It probably cleared you right up. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was 100% clear for, I would say from May to November of 2022. And that's when I was like, I need to just get off of everything because I was on Dupixent as well. And I was like, I just want to get off of it just to see where my skin is at. Mm-hmm. And then, so I got off the Dupixent and I got off the steroid creams during November. I'm telling you, my story's wild.
I know. I'm like scared. I'm like, oh no, what's going to happen?
Yeah. So I got off of that and then was going through withdrawals from early December and of course till now. And it was way more painful than the first TSW that I went through. And I, of course, like I threw all of the steroid creams away. I am now officially like, I'm sick of these. These are hurting my body.
Yeah.
But so I was 100% drug free until my trying to figure out when it was, like a month ago or so. It was getting so much to the point where it was just physically, I couldn't do anything. I was like, from being a student athlete, like golfing all the time and just constantly going. And I was just in
So much pain.
much pain. And yeah. And
But what did
so
you, go ahead. Sorry.
okay. No, you're fine. So I was praying so much about it. Like I prayed and prayed and prayed. And I was like, God, like, I know you don't want me to be in pain. I know you don't. Like, he's not the author of pain. He doesn't want us to be hurt. And so I just prayed so much. I was like, God, like, are you using this to like teach me something? Or like, can you heal me?
Yeah.
Please, that's just what I was just going through with my walk with God. And I prayed so much about it, and I talked to my mom about it. She's a nurse, and we just talked so much about it. And she's like, Sarah, like, I hate to see you in so much pain. Like, you need to live. Like, you need to like at least do something to just ease up on the pain a little bit. And so that's why she was like, Sarah, like, do you feel comfortable going on Dupixent again? Because Dupixent was fine. Like, I didn't really get any bad reactions with it. And like I said, like, this is like, I'm not a doctor, of course. I'm not like telling other people to go on Dupixent. I'm just, that's just more of what it worked with me, and so I've been taking it since, let me see when I started taking that. The March 8th was when I started taking it. And,
Okay. So just like a month and a half, really.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And it's already eased up a good time, a good amount. And I still have like a lot of itchiness, like on my eyelids, on the inners of my arm, and on my neck. My neck is like still, the worst.
But I feel your pain on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is kind of what I'm thinking about doing with it, is just using it until my skin gets like completely clear, and then just hopefully to like taper off of it and just fully get off of medication.
And I mean, we're in those groups, and there's some people that has worked. So it could be the case for you too, for sure.
Yeah, because like I was like, I do not want to get on medicine, because medicine was the one thing that caused all this, and I was just like I said, I wanted to eat all of the great foods and like heal all of this and just as natural as possible. But I feel like just like at the time, I hope that this was the right decision for me. But like I said, I'm 100% off of topical steroids, and
never again.
Never again. Oh my gosh. I am no.
Well, what do you think has been like aside from the physical and mental, yeah, I mean, what would you say has been the hardest piece of TSW for you?
I would say the one thing that comes to my mind about the hardest thing, I would say probably two things, is I feel like I had no life. It was like, from one who is super extroverted and like who loves to be around people, and I felt embarrassed, when I was in front of people.
Yeah.
And I remember, I don't want to start crying, but I remember I was doing cryotherapy and red light therapy for a Restore Hyper Wellness in Tulsa, and they were awesome. And so I went there the first time, and they looked at me as if I were human, like I was an actual person, instead of just like staring at me as like, what's wrong with her, And I just remember I went to the manager, and I just like started crying. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, thank you so much for actually treating me like a human, and
You're make me cry.
yeah. Yeah.
I know
And
what that feels like. You're just so embarrassed at who you see in the mirror. And it's so hard to look people in the eye when you're like, this is not my best version of me. Like, this is,
I
but,
didn't even look like myself. Yeah.
and then to
It's,
like find humanity in other people that are just so kind and like, they, even if they're pretending to see past it, it means so much to people that are going through such hell.
right, right. And the thing too is whenever I was like describing all this to people, because they would ask, it was so hard to explain it because they didn't understand it. And there are people I said, guys, this is not eczema. This is a withdrawal from steroids. And then they would just keep saying it's eczema, it's eczema. And I'm like, it is not eczema, you know? And that's just so hard to get around to people is to like, oh, this cat is on the table. Sorry.
It's so frustrating. And the truth of the matter is, even those closest to us, your husband, your mom, my family, like when you're not the one going through it, it's even though they're watching some of the actual symptoms happening, you can't know unless you're in that person's body. If you're not going through it, it's when you're right. Like explaining it to people, it can make you really angry. Like I got angry a lot because I'm like, you're not listening. Like, this is not what you like. Stop telling me, oh, it's just this, go do that. Like, no.
Right. Right.
So,
and the only the people who know our bodies best is ourselves.
100%.
And like we know what we're going through. And like no matter, I mean, I know doctors like they do all this medical school and totally understand, but they don't know our bodies like we do. And when we know we're going through something, I really believe that that's true. So
yeah, it's intuition. Now, what would you, I'm a person of faith myself. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I do think that there is a big piece of this, that like, if you believe that you're going to heal, you are going to heal, because the mind is a very powerful thing, and faith combined with a positive mind is just like,
right.
It's probably no better medicine, out there, honestly. So
yeah,
I too prayed a lot. I always do. I still do. Like, and sometimes it's not a good conversation with God, because it's like, I'm furious, like you're really angry. Like, why me? Why me? Why me? And you want to, what is the reason for this? Is there a purpose? What's the lesson? And slowly, like over time, I started to really like learn a lot more about like, I do think there is a purpose for this. I hate it.
Yeah.
It's like, if this is the cross that I have to bear, and like, and then that's okay. And I know it's not a forever thing, because I choose to believe, because I believe that. And I, like you said, I don't think our God is one of pain and suffering. I don't believe that. But what part of your faith was like tested during this? And like, how strong would you say the TSW has like increased your faith? Has it like hurt your faith? What's the role of faith that you have now with going through this?
I would say that no matter what I go through, no matter if it's death, if it's life, anything, God is faithful. He still loves us and he still cares for us, and he wants to see us whole and healthy. And, I would say during the hardest parts of TSW, I doubted so much. Like it was such a tester with God for me. And you say like, God, like, where are you in this? And like, I don't ever want my circumstances of God to actually like change like who he is. I don't know if I said that correctly, but like, like, because God is the same yesterday, today, forever. And I don't want my circumstances to like change my view, or like my view about God to change who he is. Cause and, but I was just, I was so, I don't want to say I was angry. I was never necessarily angry with God, but I was just so confused. It's like, where are you in this? Or like, I know you love me, but why aren't you speaking to me about this? And like, but the one thing I will say that he did tell me, and that this was the only thing I recalled of him speaking to me about the TSW, was saying like, Sarah, like, your healing's going to be better than you ever thought possible. And that was it. And I was like, okay. And it gave me so much hope. But that was at the beginning of TSW. And then, and that was the promise. And then now it was going through like the hardest parts. And I'm like, God, like you said, you're going to heal me. Like, where is this? Where is it? But yeah, it definitely did test me a lot. But when you asked about did I have more faith, or did it kind of weaken it a little bit? That's a great question now that I think about it. I would say I would actually say a little more. Like, I have a little more faith than I did, even though that I'm not healed. It's because I've seen just like so many believers getting healed, and seeing, or just like even like non-believers, like I see them getting healed, and I'm like, okay, like God, like I see this, and God, you may be having me go through this to strengthen me. Like, I would say I never thought I was this strong, ever. Like, never.
Yep.
Like, from getting like, couldn't even shower because it feels like pins and needles hitting your body. Even you're on the coldest shower ever, and couldn't put soap on your body, couldn't wash yourself. Like even putting shampoo, conditioner in your hair and it running down your, like, it's literally PTSD sometimes.
I totally relate to that. Yeah.
Yeah. And just like that, and like even like brushing your teeth, and like the sides of my mouth was just would tear, and like all of that. Like, I really want to like cry about this, but like even during those times, I had to get the strength to say, like, God, you are still good. Mm-hmm. That was just so hard. And
it is
now, yeah. And to like worship him in this is so hard. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to cry.
No, I love the vulnerability, and it makes sense. I've cried about this countless times. And it's a safe space. This is a space to do it. It shows everyone listening, you're giving so many more people strength than you could possibly understand right now by being a human.
Right, exactly.
And you're right. Like being thankful and grateful and in a good spirit when you're in such agony is so hard to do.
Right, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
It's like saying to be thankful when all you want to do is cry out and have somebody hold you and take it away and like help you get through it.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest challenges ever.
Right. And it also just like helped me to remember, like, Sarah, like, I know like this hurts so much, but there's also so much you could look around and be so thankful for. And although like a part of me is like, I don't want to be thankful right now, I just want to like just mope and just get upset about the situation. But like truly, like I would, like, anybody who is watching this, the number one thing I would say is just like being thankful for what you have, and just like during that pain of just being thankful, like really helps change the perspective sometimes. And that was probably the biggest thing that I've learned is like during that, is to like be thankful or worship him in that pain. And I think he takes great delight in that. So
I completely agree with you. It's the other day taking my son to school. It's spring here in the East Coast. And I was like looking at the trees. They were bright pink and really like so many bright greens. And I'm like, thank you so much, God, for like my eyesight. Like I'm able to see this. This is like, that's a miracle. That's amazing. And meanwhile, I'm like scratching my neck and my face. And I'm like, not going to focus on that. Like I could easily do that because it's so annoying and it's so uncomfortable. But look how lucky I am to have a child. Look how lucky I am to see what I can see in front of my face. Like it's just it's a constant effort to focus on the positive things or the things that are in our control versus what's out of our control. And it's like, it's effort all the time. And that's what I think faith does. tremendously help if you're somebody that does have a faith, like can really lean on that.
Right.
To get you through the hard times. So I totally agree with that. I'm curious, number one, how your wedding, congratulations on being a newlywed.
Thank you.
And there's a few people that I've talked to that, which I feel are so inspiring, you included, to go through wedding planning can be very stressful. And but to go forward and to know, like, this maybe you were like not feeling like, gosh, this is the time in my life where everything was supposed to be perfect, and still going through it. I would love to know what your relationship, you said you were with your now husband for like 6 something years. What was your relationship tested at all while going through TSW? What was the support that you had? Like, what was that like?
Yeah. So the first time I had TSW and the whole wedding planning, I would say by God's grace, it was not that stressful for me. Actually, I'm very thankful.
Amazing.
Yeah. The only, I would say overwhelming thing that happened was just the whole guest list, and just, our venue could only have like max like 100 people, and we have big families, and it was just really difficult. But that was literally the only thing, and we got that done very early. Nice. So, which is good. But everything else we had so much help on, and it really just took a burden off of us, because I was in golf season. I was also a student doing all this. And I was living 7 hours away from where I was, like, where the wedding was, which was back at home. So we had, I tried to get everything as finished as early as possible. And so yeah, the whole wedding thing was great. Not a whole lot of stress, but I would say when I first went through the TSW, I would say I don't 100% remember how Noah's and my relationship, how it affected, because we were doing long distance, and it was, he wasn't there for when it was really, really hard. And so I would just like call my family or like call Noah about it. But it definitely, I mean, from what I recall, it wasn't as bad as what the TSW I'm going through now, because now that we're living together, when he gets home from work and like, and I would tell him, like, hey, like my skin's doing a little better today, or it's doing a lot worse today. And I would say it did put a little bit of strain on it, but I would say he was so kind and so like gentle with me that like I told him like, hey, sorry, like don't kiss me today because it hurts so much, and like him having like a beard and everything, like, I'm sorry, like you're gonna have to shave it, and it was so difficult, but like now it's so much better, just because like now a lot of the skin is like cleared up and not as much pain anymore. There's still times I'm like, okay, dude, you gotta shave.
Which is a shame because I love beards.
yeah, for sure. I told him his own, but yeah, I told him, I was like, no, like whenever my skin is completely clear, like you can have a beard all you want.
Yeah, yeah, totally fine. It does. I mean, it definitely, 5 o'clock shadow or full beard, it can definitely irritate us big time. So I get it.
Exactly. But I like I said, like he was the one person who actually graciously but also made me get out of the house. Like he was like, Sarah, like your worth is so much more in how you look. And he's like, Sarah, I still think you're beautiful. I still think you're stunning. And I'm just like, oh, I do not feel it at all.
That's love. That's a good one. You have a good one there, it sounds like. And it is important too, because if it wasn't for, at the time I was dating a great guy for the last couple of years and amicable, it just didn't work out, but so much love from, but similar. I wanted to just stay a recluse in the house, and I didn't want to. And it was like, there were times I remember getting a little bit pissed. I'm like, you don't get it. I don't want to go out. I'm embarrassed. This is terrible. And he's like, stop, because like, we're going to go have fun. We're going to smile. We're going to go laugh. You're going to like get your mind off of this. We're going to go, explore this or do that or whatever. And it did make a big difference. And if it was up to me, I would have stayed closed into the house, and, which is not which is not good.
Yeah.
So it does take sometimes a push in a good direction to help even the mental piece of it, and to take your mind off of it as much as you can. It's just so important.
Exactly. And like when Noah would like tell me to like that, like, hey, we're gonna go out, or like when I look my absolute worst, and like exactly what you said, like, Noah, you don't get it. I really feel like I cannot. And I feel like at times like it's so easy for us to be like, but you don't understand what I'm going through. Like you don't get it. And but I feel like too that like of course like he doesn't get it. And like but he's doing his absolute best that he can to like comfort and to love us. And in Noah's eyes, he saw it as like, Sarah, if you stay in this home, you're gonna be far worse.
That's true.
Like worse off than when you do decide to go out. And it's 100% true. I always felt so much better being out, you know, going out and seeing friends, or going out on a date, or like going for a walk or something like that.
Anything.
Like, yeah. And like, I would say like, one of like the big keys that I like learned that like straight off from the beginning of TSW was that beauty is all from the inside and not from the outside. Like from Noah, like having to make me like go out with him, or like I would have to go to these meetings while going through TSW and trying to golf if I could. And I can touch on that later, but that and just being outside, it was just so hard. But it just taught me that like, Sarah, like you are like, you are a good person. I believe. I think so. I don't know. But like if you just just like be a light to other people, that's what they're going to see in you. Like people, like genuine people won't just like look at you in disgust, like look at you and you know.
And you know what else is, I don't know if you noticed this. I certainly noticed this. We just interviewed someone on the show who she and a friend that she made through this terrible journey started their own podcast and brand, and they have apparel, and it's one of the phrases is let's normalize skin conditions. And I loved that because I was like, Mackie's Moments, shout out to them, but they Itch and Bitch. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yep. I've heard of them.
Yep. So they got a great little thing going on there. And it is so true that when you're like in your own little bubble, like before, I don't know if you feel like this, but before TSW, it's so easy to overlook and not pay attention as much to, I don't know, other people's skin issues. And now you look around, you're like, everybody really does have something. And even if you can't see it on the outside, on the inside, we all have something. But skin issues in general are so much more common than we realize. And unfortunately for us, like, you know, eczema is crazy, crazy common, especially in the United States, but TSW, which not many people still know about, hopefully we're going to change that. That's like a, you know, iatrogenic condition. So it's like not something that just happened from the medication, but no matter how you got it or what it is, you look around and you're like, there are a lot more people that have skin, whether it's something simple, acne, psoriasis, whatever, or something even more like crazy, but it's not, we're like more in the majority, and that doesn't make me feel really good. I want everybody to feel good, but it is way more common when you like pay attention, you know?
Yeah, it definitely helped me to be more sympathetic towards other people. That like, Sarah, like you have no idea what these people are going through. They may like have eczema underneath those clothes that you don't see. You know, they may be going through something that's so difficult that I may not understand. And like, I will say TSW really helped me learn like how to be like more genuine with people and like care about what they're going through. Like, yeah, for sure.
Totally agree. I would love to hear, because you mentioned it a little bit, you know, I'm not a golfer. In fact, I am terrible at it, which is amazing because captain of the tennis team in high school and my hand-eye coordination should be great, but I'm getting better. I'll say that. I will be nice to myself. I will be nice. I just went with my son and it was comical, but then I'm getting better. But I just the motion and the bending of the wrists and the legs and the hips and moving, you know, when you got some of those, I mean, there's key trouble areas that you are needing to use when you are golfing, and you say you did it through all the pain and everything. I mean, God bless you. Like, I don't know how, you know, you did that, but what was that like? Yeah,
girl, I don't even know how I did it either. Now that I look back, I have no idea how I did it. But yeah, and it was in the spring too, where allergies and everything. It was rough.
Yeah.
But my golf journey has it's been quite interesting in the last year. So that is all I've ever worked towards is professional golf. That's
The dream.
my dad. Yeah, like my dad taught me golf and taught me how to win, taught me how to compete, and I've had so much success, and I'm so grateful for that. Like I won the 2021 Missouri Women's Amateur. I won 4 collegiate events, and I was at one point I was like ranked 25th in the nation, like with collegiate collegiate wise. Like so I would.
It's huge.
Yeah, like so I saw myself going like to do professional golf, and I was at the beginning of TSW, I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to play golf. I just want to play so bad. And I still love to play, but I would say like during this time, God like sat me down and just like in a way I was able to like think about my life. Like you have a lot of time during TSW to think about your life, like so much. And I felt like in a way, like golf is still my passion, but like a bigger passion of mine right now is to have a family. And yeah, and it's been a lot of like back and forth of what it's like, oh, I'm gonna do professional golf, oh, I'm gonna do like be a stay-at-home mom, or I don't know. Still, I don't know yet.
That's okay. But you don't have to know yet, right?
Right, exactly. And I feel like after thinking about it for a few months, I have more of a desire to be a coach than I do a professional golfer, because I don't want to make the golf, like the gifting of golf, to be about me. I want to pour into other people and help them to be able to compete. Like that gives me more like of a drive to do that instead of just like playing for myself,
That's awesome.
So maybe later on in life I'll do professional golf. I don't know, but I feel like right now I'm kind of like just in that waiting season of where just trying to figure out my next direction. But I don't think right now the next direction is professional golf at the moment, but I still have a passion towards it and I still love it. But also too, like you said, you used to play tennis. I used to play tennis too whenever I was growing up. I loved tennis. Like if I had to play any other sport, it would be tennis.
Yeah, it's a great sport. My son just started playing it at school, so it's so cool. Yeah. That's awesome. And I love that the world is a crazy place these days. So I love that you're that is the truth for you and you're brave enough to share it, because there is no shame in that. In fact, there's such honor in growing and building a family. Like there is nothing, I shouldn't speak for everyone because everybody has different opinions, but that's one of the ultimate like rewards. If you're fortunate enough to have a family and you get to be in control and not in control, but, raising children and a loving household and stuff, that's something that our world is desperately lacking, in my opinion, and something that's needed. So I think that's a beautiful dream. And there's no shame in, saying like, that is like priority for me right now. And that's what I want to pursue, because that's, if not, it is like the most important thing for many people. Anyway, I'll say that.
Right.
So
no,
I think that is awesome. And like you said, you have an incredible skill, God-given skill set and talent. So there's always time to, see how that fits into your life and figure things out. But I think you're right. TSW gives you a ton of time to think and reevaluate and contemplate, like, what's the most important things to me. And it takes, I really do believe it takes something like a health scare or a crisis or something like tragic, or to really like shake you to your core a little bit and make you question, like, am I going in the right direction in life that I want to be going in? It makes you question, like, how strong is my faith? It makes you question your relationships with people. Like, these are all good things. Sometimes like if you're just coasting along and life is just great, I feel like, we don't know the inside business of every person or every friend that we have. But for the people that haven't really hit much adversity in life, it's actually a disservice. I think it's like, you have to look at these like roadblocks and, things that stop you dead in your tracks, or things that literally drop you to your knees, like TSW. I mean, it's like, we're waiting, or we're trying to find ways to heal. And it just like, it just makes you appreciate everything that you have that's good. And it makes you pray really hard, or get, really like desperate. And hopefully you turn to a good outlet to figure out ways to get out of this stuck place. And you brought up so many amazing points. And I think that's like super valuable. What's like one, because I know we're getting close to time here, but what's like any words of wisdom that you would have for someone, or like, a tip or a piece of advice or something that you could give someone that's going through it, whether they're in this for 2 years or 2 months or whatever it is?
Gosh, only one. That's hard.
Yeah, you can give as many as you want. Go for it.
Yeah. When you're talking about adversity, like, adversity is so crucial in life, and like so many people want to avoid it, but like that is what's going to make you a stronger person. That's what's going to get you closer to God. That's what's going to like make you who you are. Like adversity, like I sometimes like, I don't want to say like I want adversity to come to me, but to some degree I do, because that like I know that like I'm strong enough, I can do this. And but like that, and gosh, I'm just trying to think like that. I mean, probably a lot of people say this too, but TSW does not last forever. It is like it's so hard to like find that hope that it's that like, oh, it's gonna last forever. Like, oh my gosh, like this pain, like it's so hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But like everybody heals from it. It's completely like, you will heal, and that's okay. And gosh, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I have.
I love that. And I want to say, to jump in on that, is there's also like, there's so much, there is so much the emotion and things that we're already hard on ourselves as it is. So there's no shame in whatever healing looks like for you. I'm happy to, in the beginning you said I had the really strong desire to heal holistically and naturally. And that's really, really what I wanted. And I'm sure that that's the case for a lot of people. That's how I feel. And that's what I've been, doing. And the truth is, none of us know, is that the right approach or not? Like, I don't know if I did do Dupixent or a certain drug, I don't know if that would have expedited healing and maybe been like, answer to my prayers. And maybe this is me being stubborn and being like, no, I refuse. Or maybe, and then you could look at it like, no, this is me caving and being weak. But none of that's true. None of that's true. And I just want people to know, this is why I love having people on the show that have like all different approaches, and they're sharing their experience. Like, there is no one size fits all in life, in healing, in anything. And it's okay to just like take a chance and just go with your gut on things, even if it's like against what you wanted to do or against what other people are suggesting. Like, you have to listen to your intuition, and you have to pray on it, and you have to go with your gut. And there's no shame in however you choose the healing journey.
Yeah, like 100% to what you said, because like I said, I did not at all want to take any form of medicine. I was like, I'm against this. I don't want to do this. I want to do things as natural as possible. But like, to anybody else that may be going through like TSW or like any other condition, that like you said, kind of go with your gut, even though it may be against how you feel at that time. Like, what matters during that time is your healing, whether that looks like holistic or taking medicine. Like I said, like for me, it was just, it was so hard for me to just like even live my life, like to do like any basic things. And I was like, do I want to keep doing that for months and months and months, however long it's going to take? And I was like, I had to be real with myself. Like, I mean, of course, anybody's gonna be like, no, like I don't, but like, it was affecting so much of my life. And I was just like, you know what, Sarah, I just have to be real with myself and just try this out and just see how you like it. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying if you really feel led to do it. And And if you don't like it, go back to doing things natural,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong in that. But like I said, I've always been like 100% like the holistic type of person. So yeah, so I completely understand what you're saying, and good on you for doing things holistically and doing things, that way.
It's not, it's not easy. I will say at the time of this recording, depending on when this episode gets published, but I am December 1st, 2021 was the beginning officially for me. And so it's been, gosh, what is that? I don't even know. Like, I'm not at a year and a half yet, but I'm right down there, It has been hard. It's been challenging. It's been really like, it's a test of willpower, a test of like minds. It's been a big test. And there have been times that I was like, this is crazy. Like, and you listen to people that love you, your parent, your whatever, saying like, please, I can't stand seeing you like this. Please get help. Please, like, do something. There's all these other, you can try things that are not steroid. You can try, like, it does get to you a little bit because you're like, well, maybe I can. But for me, it's not even for me personally. I have such tremendous fear about Medicaid, which is not always good either, because I actually have to check myself. Like, I'm a parent, I'm an adult. Like, if I need a medication for something, this is like a trauma response, like you have to, this is thankful for therapy, and all that, because you have something like this that really is like terrifying, that you're like, I thought I was getting help all this time and it hurt me. And it's like, it's a lot to work through. So, So I don't judge anybody for like, if medication works for you, oh my God, I'm so happy for you. Like, that's amazing. If you're struggling, but I will say it's such a roller coaster when you do it naturally. Like, that's why your mindset is so important, because you could be good for a few months, then you go back a little bit, and it's a lot on your mind, and it's a lot on like, mentally and emotionally, it's just a lot. So you just have to do your best, and that's all that anyone can do. And I agree with everything you said.
Yeah, I also had so much fear with medicine as well, because today, like, I don't want to call it out or anything like that, but you just like hear so much about just different kinds of medications causing all these things, and like when somebody's sick with some, like, you hear like doctors immediately just prescribe the medication, it doesn't get to the root cause, and I'm 100% getting to the root cause, but I also feel like a lot of people can take that out on just like your normal doctors, and can be angry with them when it's not necessarily always their fault. Because like there's a lot of great doctors out there, a lot of people who genuinely want to help. And
for sure. And you get to the point, you only know what you know. Same with doctors. They're humans. They're not God. They make mistakes, but also, if they're an expert in what they were taught and what they know, that doesn't mean they're an expert in healing you. They know, like, if this is the problem, then this is the solution we were taught to offer or to give. So I was angry, at first a little bit. But then you really have to get real and say, have I ever made a mistake? Am I a human?
Yeah.
So it's easy to point the finger and like not, but at the end of the day, none of this, it's not anybody's fault. It just was the path that our life has gone on for whatever reason. And you can go drive yourself crazy trying to figure out why me, or what's the point of this, or whatever. But at the end of the day, I think we just need to settle in with, we all have something, some kind of adversity and some kind of issue. And if you can try to put a positive spin on it as best you can, and look at the silver lining, look at the glass half full, light at the end of the tunnel, whatever, I look at it like I get to meet people like you, and new friendships and new connections. And honestly, it's I've said this a million times on these episodes, but it's like such an amazing community of people that you really do realize beauty is only skin, like beauty is inside. It's an inside job.
Exactly.
It's like when I look at, you could look at old pictures of yourself and be like, God, I was such a good looking, I was so cute.
Yeah.
God. And it's okay to do that. Like, I do it. But then you really realize, no, it's really my heart that makes me pretty. It's not my face. It's not my, it's exactly, that's what it is. And this community, it's like such heartfelt, incredible men and women that I'm like, wow, I would have not known any of you guys. I wouldn't have known anyone. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to give back like this show, and hopefully make a dent in the awareness of spreading of it. But it's people like you and people like me and everybody else that is just trying to, get the word out there and help more people. So I appreciate you so much for being on the show. I want to like wish you all the luck in the world with wherever it goes and your family planning, and definitely keep us posted on your progress for sure, and how Dupixent's going and just how you're healing. And we'll definitely stay connected. And I just thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. This has been such a blessing for me, and I'm just so thankful that you let me to be able to speak in my journey and my experiences with you. So I love that. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. I will talk to you soon, I'm sure.
Sounds good. Hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.
Bye, Sam.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. Please remember to subscribe, leave feedback, and share the show. Together, we will spread awareness and bring an end to topical steroid withdrawal. Don't forget to check out helpful resources on the blog, and be sure to grab your copy of the one and only TSW Journal at tswjourneytohealing.com.